And we welcome to Sports Talk this week Ernie Trosper, who's a familiar face at Mason County football games. He's David Buchanan's father-in-law, Stephanie Buchanan's dad. And Ernie, we've been wanting to talk to you about sports for the last couple of years and finally get the chance to. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on.
This is a great time of the year. Football, basketball's right around the corner. If you're a sports fan, you can't get much better than this, can you?
Well, no, you really can't. And I love every sport that comes along. I have a way of liking it.
Let's talk a little bit about your sports career. You grew up down in the Harlan, Everett area. How'd you start playing sports?
Well, I was at a little town named Baxter. Really, it's not even incorporated, but it's about 2 miles from Harlan. And I was right between Laurel High School and Harlan High School, and the bus would come by and could have picked me up had I gone to Laurel High School. But my father said, he said, they've got this great coach up there at Harlan named Joe Gilley, and they've just won a state championship about 3 years ago with a guy named Wawa Jones. And he said, I think I want you to go there. Well, that meant that every morning of my life, I went down to the road, US 25, and I hitchhiked to Harlan. And then after school, we had practice, and then I'd go back down to the Baptist church there at Harlan and stand on the corner, and I would hitchhike back home. Now, those days, you didn't worry about people being mean and doing things to you. And they all knew me, so I got a ride very quickly. But that's how I got started at Harlan High School.
And how was it playing for Wawa, a great name in Kentucky basketball history?
Oh, listen, I feel very honored. My jersey is hanging next to his at Harlan High School Gymnasium, and I'm very proud of that.
Who were some of your teammates at Harlan High?
Well, they were people like Buddy Ward. He ended up in the NFL refereeing. Looney Black, Richmond, Peters. Those were people's names that probably your people will not recognize. But we ended up, my senior year, we played at Corbin High School in the finals of the regional, and we were tied at the half, and we had a big old 6'4" pivot man that was holding his own with Jerry Bird. Now, Jerry Bird went on and went to UK and had a great career there. And he fouled out, and they beat us in the second half. But we had a very good team that year and lost in the finals of the regional.
Did you play other sports at Harlan?
Yes, I played baseball. Now, oddly, the first track meet I ever saw in my life, Danny, I ran in. We did not have track in southeastern Kentucky. Nobody had a track. But when I went to Union College, they had a beautiful, probably the best track in the state at that time. It was cinder, very well drained. It was very, very nice. And doggone if I didn't end up running 5 events, and then if we needed a little help, I'd anchor a relay. And one guy and myself, we had 19 members on the team, but he and I would get 50 points a game between track meet between us. Now, the rest of them just had to get about 10 or 12. So my senior year at Union, we had an undefeated track team, won the KIAC, the Kentucky Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, undefeated. And we ran teams like Eastern, Kentucky State, and we just blew them all away. And so it was good to, had some wonderful teammates and people that, that wasn't just me. We had a team effort in all the things that I ever did.
I know Tom Duncan told me the story. He took you down to his home church down in Tennessee, Oneida, yes. And the minister you'd actually run track against. Is that right?
Yes, I had run track against him, and I showed Tom the articles where he was really 100 and a 220 yard dash, just could fly. Well, my senior year, we were undefeated, won the KIAC, and I got to beat him, ran a 9.9, and I had it in print, so Tom he could believe me, when he saw it in print.
And of course, you had a great basketball career at Union, 2,000-point scorer, and named an All-American. Just talk about playing basketball at Union College.
Well, that was a great experience. Little sidebar here. I went there as a freshman, and I started my first game there. But then I didn't. After about 5 or 6 games, some seniors sort of took over. And I think I only scored 250 points maybe my freshman year. But at the beginning of my sophomore year, Danny, we scrimmaged University of Tennessee in Knoxville. And we just did a number on them, and I had a great, great scrimmage. And the next day I got a phone call, and they offered me a scholarship to come to UT. I didn't have a lot of people to advise me. I was just a little old country boy from coal mining country in Harlan, and I guess I was afraid to leap out and take that chance. But I don't look back on that as it was bad, because I did go on and have a great career at Union, and I don't look back on it that I did not make that decision.
Who was your coach at Union College?
Well, I think that was the problem. I never played on a losing team at Union, but I had 3 different coaches, Danny, and that's the worst thing in the world that can happen to a group of guys that have some talent. You just, they would move on and get better jobs. But at that time, we were all the teams in the KIAC, they were scholarship players. We had like about 10 or 12 full scholarships at Union in 1951 through 55 when I was there. Well, now these same schools, they've disbanded, I guess, the KIAC. Georgetown may be the only one that's still probably giving scholarships, but they've all gone to Division III, non-scholarship playing schools, and I think the level of talent drops off drastically when you are not given full scholarships to players. You don't get the best athletes, in my opinion.
And then you went into coaching, first at Whitesburg.
Yes, had a great experience there. I think, side story here. My first year I went there, we won the district and went to the finals of the regional against a little old school, I know you've heard of it, Car Creek.
Oh, yeah.
In 1956, we lost to them in the finals of the regional. They went on and won the state championship that year. And I think had I lost about 20 games that year, I think we were 24-4 or something. Had I lost about 18 or 20 games, I would have taken up a situation that happened. My senior year at Union, Ed Diddle from Western sent me a letter, invited me to play in the Kentucky-Indiana College All-Stars. Now, they've since stopped doing that. They have, I know they have the boys and girls high school Kentucky-Indiana All-Star game, but not the college. For a long time, they had the college. And so I went and spent 2 weeks with Ed Diddle and his staff. We played Indiana at the fairgrounds in Louisville, and we beat them there. I think I got 8 points. In the All-Star games, you don't get to play a whole lot. I've been used to scoring 25 or 30, but I got 8 that night. We won. Then we went on to Elkhart, Indiana, and played the second game of the 2-game series, and they beat us. They had a guy by the name of Don Slunt, who probably still holds all Indiana records. He's 6'10", and just really a great player. But at that game, I had a guy to come up. He was a scout, and he said, "We'd like to talk to you." And I said, "Well, I promised Whitesburg if they'd let me come these 2 weeks that I would not back out on them. School had already started." So I went back to little old Whitesburg, and the next year he sent me a couple of tickets to fly to New York had I wanted to do it. But as I said, I had a good first year. Had I lost 20 games, I'd have gotten on that plane and gone. But I didn't. And I guess I don't look back on that either, Dan. I've had a good career there. Then I spent 12 years at Bristol, Tennessee High School. And, of course, these Tennessee schools, most of them can't even spell basketball. They're big into football. Matter of fact, Tennessee High School, while I was there, won the national championship. They beat out a little school named Valdosta. You've heard of Valdosta, Georgia?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they won the national championship, and John Kroc was the coach of the football team, and then he spent the last 15 or 20 years at the University of Kentucky and just retired from their athletic department. So I've had a varied career, and the thing about it is I'm sort of reliving my little days in coaching and playing by being there on the sidelines and rooting the Mason County Royals on and whatever they're playing. I'm there to support David and the team, and boy, they're having a good year this year, and I'm so proud of them.
I was going to ask you, after you'd been a coach for so long, and when Stephanie told you she was going to marry a coach, what was your reaction?
Well, let me tell you what. It's funny you would ask me that. Danny, I told her before she ever got married in age, I said, Stephanie, marry anybody in the world, but don't marry a coach. Doggone it, she didn't turn around and marry David Buchanan. And it's been great. The life of a coach can be really tough. And they have to sit in the stands and listen to remarks that they shouldn't have to listen to. But it happens. But I think David's had a great career and doesn't look back on anything there. So I'm proud of him, and I support the Mason County basketball, Coach O'Hearn and Fred Hester when he was coaching there. When they're bouncing that ball, most time I'm right there, their biggest fans.
Now let's go back a little bit to Paris. After you were down at Tennessee High School in Bristol, you came back to Paris, and you were there at a good time for their football program as a principal.
That's exactly right. You're doing a good job in this interview in that you're bringing back memories that I can talk about. We had a coach that had coached at Maysville by the name of Homer Goins. Homer was there at Maysville High School, not at Mason County, before they merged. Had some good football teams there. Well, my first year, 1973-74, as principal of Paris High School, we had one heck of a football team. Homer was hard-nosed. He was part of Charlie Bradshaw's Thin 28. I don't know if you've heard about that, but there's a good story about that I'll tell you sometime. But he was from Everett's, and one night at the kids, they were having a tough time. Charlie Bradshaw was killing them all. Some of the players came by his room and said, Homer, we're leaving. We're going home. Can't stand this anymore. Homer said, guys, do you know what I've got to go home to? Have you ever been inside a coal mine? Listen, Charlie Bradshaw cannot do enough to run me out of here. I am not going to go back and spend the rest of my life in a coal mine. We went on that year, 73-74, and we were undefeated, won the state championship. And then Homer had a great career there, and, of course, I was principal at that time.
And I know Eugene Puckett told me they had a big reunion of Paris High School coaches and players and administrators, and you were able to stop by that game before you came up to watch Mason County play a few weeks ago.
Yes, that was a fun time. I mean, they came out in droves. Paris football has been really down. They've sort of gotten back up now. I think they've won 4 or 5 games this year, but all the old grads came back, and Randy Reese, who had won 2 state championships there and had the state record of like 38 consecutive wins before that was broken. All of those guys came back, the cheerleaders and the principals and everybody, and they had invited me to come back and be a part of that. And Mason County was playing that night, and I said I can stay to the half. At the end of the first half, I came out of there, and I know I broke every speed limit coming to Maysville, but I made it to Mason County for the second half of the Mason County game. So I got to do both. It was a great night.
Couple of more things about Union College. In 2005, they celebrated 100 years of athletics, and they did a poll on the Internet of Fans, and you being named the first All-American at Union College was named the #1 moment in Bulldog history. That had to be a thrill.
Oh, it really was. And because it was voted on by fans and everybody. I mean, it wasn't, any sports writers or anything, but it was the fans and the people that had supported Union down through the years, and there were some mighty good teams and individuals at that time. So, yes, I felt very honored to get that award.
And then a few years later, the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Gym was renovated and the court named for you. Talk about that gym and the thrill of having the court named for you.
Well, they were going to tear that gymnasium down. But the president said, let's get a consultant, an architect, to come in and evaluate this gymnasium. They did that, and the report was, this is the most structurally sound building on your campus. You can use that for a lot of different things rather than tear it down. So the board made the decision to go ahead and renovate it. It was built in 1919. It was part of the WPA work program back in that time. But it was really a nice building, and so they decided let's renovate it. And it is a state-of-the-art building. The whole bottom floor where we had our dressing rooms when I was playing is now weights, treadmills, pictures on the wall. I mean, it was everything is downstairs, weights and everything that the football team uses and anybody that wants to. The upstairs, the new floor they put in, they named it Trosper Court. So when I go back now, I'm a trustee at Union. I never walk on that campus now that some of those kids say to me, thank you, Mr. Trosper, for providing this for us, because they do volleyball, they do intramural basketball, they have dances there, they have a lot of different things. It's really used, and the kids have really appreciated it.
Would have been a shame to tear it down. They don't build them like that anymore, do they?
No, it's very beautiful. If you ever have a chance to go and see it, it really is nice.
Well, Ernie, it's been great talking to you. I've loved the stories, and maybe we can do this again somewhere down the road. Thanks a lot.
Well, I'd love to. I've enjoyed it, Danny, and let me tell you what. David somehow fixed my computer. We old people, we don't know how to operate computers. But he put your station on my computer, and now every time on Friday night and on the basketball, I can click on my computer and I can hear your broadcast, and I love doing that. Appreciate you and what you do and what you've brought to the sports program at Mason County High School. Okay?
All right, thanks a lot.
That's Ernie Trosper.